On a quiet Tuesday evening, the bells on the diner door jingled as a weary traveler stepped inside. Maddie, the young waitress wiping down the counter, looked up and smiled her usual warm, welcoming smile. She had no idea that this moment would change her life forever. Maddie had been working at Joe's diner for 5 years, ever since she dropped out of college to care for her ailing mother. The tips weren't great, and the hours were long, but Maddie's heart was as big as her dreams. Though life had been hard on her, she never let it dim her kindness. The traveler, a man in his early 40s with a rugged look and a worn leather jacket, glanced around the modest diner. His eyes met Maddie's, and she could see exhaustion in them. She walked over to greet him. "Welcome to Joe's. Grab a seat anywhere," she said cheerfully. "Thanks," he replied, his voice gravelly yet soft. He slid into a booth near the window, clutching a small, beat-up duffel bag. Maddie handed him a menu, but he barely glanced at it. "Coffee, please," he said after a pause. As Maddie poured the steaming brew, she noticed how tired he looked, like someone carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. When she brought the coffee to his table, he hesitated before speaking. "Actually, I don't think I'll order anything else," he said, avoiding her eyes. "I'll just stick with the coffee." Maddie's heart sank. She recognized that look. She'd seen it many times before, someone struggling to make ends meet. Without a second thought, she offered a kind smile. "Don't worry about it. Dinner's on me tonight," she said softly. "What would you like? The meatloaf's really good." The man's eyes widened, and for a moment, he looked like he might refuse. But hunger and gratitude won out. "Thank you. Meatloaf sounds great." From that day on, the man, who introduced himself as Jack, became a regular at the diner. He always sat at the same booth, ordered coffee, and tried to pay for his meal. Maddie, however, insisted on covering the cost when she noticed he couldn't afford it. "You're too kind," Jack said one evening as Maddie refilled his coffee cup. "Why do you do it?" "Because I know what it's like to struggle," Maddie replied, "and because everyone deserves a little kindness now and then." What Maddie didn't know was that Jack wasn't just any drifter. He was Jack Albright, a self-made millionaire who had temporarily walked away from his fortune to rediscover what truly mattered in life. Disillusioned with the greed and superficiality of his business empire, he had chosen to travel anonymously and live as an ordinary man. Week after week, Maddie's kindness melted Jack's guarded heart. She never asked for anything in return, never treated him like a charity case. She simply saw him as a person, and that was something Jack hadn't experienced in a long time. One rainy evening, after the diner had closed and Maddie was cleaning up, Jack lingered at his booth. As she approached to clear his plate, he finally spoke. "Maddie, can I ask you something?" "Sure," she said, pausing to look at him. "If you could do anything at all, what would it be?" Maddie laughed softly, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Oh, I don't know. Maybe open my own bakery someday. I've always loved baking, but dreams like that cost money I don't have." Jack nodded thoughtfully. "You deserve that dream, and more." Before Maddie could respond, Jack stood up and grabbed his duffel bag. "Thank you for everything," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "You're an amazing person, Maddie. Don't ever forget that." And with that, he walked out into the rain, leaving Maddie both touched and puzzled. Weeks passed, and Jack didn't return. Maddie missed him more than she expected. She had grown fond of their quiet conversations and his gentle demeanor. Life at the diner felt a little emptier without him. One morning, as Maddie arrived at work, she noticed a shiny black car parked outside. A man in a suit stood by the door, holding a thick envelope. "Are you Maddie Harper?" he asked. "Yes," she replied cautiously. The man handed her the envelope. "This is for you. From Mr. Albright." Maddie's heart raced as she opened the envelope. Inside was a letter and a check that made her gasp. The amount was enough to cover not only her dream bakery, but also her mother's medical bills and more. The letter read, "Dear Maddie, you gave me hope when I had lost it, kindness when I didn't deserve it, and faith in humanity when I needed it most. You taught me that true wealth isn't about money, but about the connections we make and the good we do for others. This isn't charity. It's an investment in someone who has already enriched the world with her kindness. Open your bakery, Maddie. Live your dream. And if you'll have me, I'd like to be part of that dream too." Forever grateful, Jack tears streamed down Maddie's face as she read the letter. She couldn't believe the man she had helped was a millionaire, and that he cared for her. Months later, Maddie's Bakery, Kindred Kitchen, opened its doors to the community. The cozy shop was filled with the scent of freshly baked bread and pastries. Locals flocked to the bakery, drawn not only by the delicious treats, but also by Maddie's warm spirit. Jack was there on opening day, carrying flowers and wearing the same rugged leather jacket Maddie remembered. "I'm proud of you," he said, handing her the bouquet. Maddie's cheeks flushed. "I couldn't have done it without you." They spent the day together, celebrating the success of the bakery. As weeks turned into months, Jack became a constant presence in Maddie's life. He helped her with the business, sharing ideas and even rolling up his sleeves to knead dough when needed. Their bond grew deeper with every passing day. Maddie learned about Jack's past, his rise to success, the emptiness he felt despite his wealth, and his decision to step away from it all. Jack, in turn, admired Maddie's resilience and selflessness. She reminded him of the simple joys in life that money could never buy. One evening, as they sat together in the bakery after closing, Jack took Maddie's hand. "You've given me more than I ever thought possible," he said. "Not just a place to belong, but a reason to believe in love again." Maddie's eyes glistened with tears. "And you've shown me that dreams can come true, even when you least expect it." Jack smiled and pulled out a small velvet box. "Speaking of dreams," he said, opening it to reveal a simple yet elegant ring. "Maddie Harper, will you make me the luckiest man alive?" Overwhelmed with emotion, Maddie nodded. "Yes, Jack, 1,000 times yes." Their engagement was celebrated by the entire town, who had come to see Maddie and Jack as symbols of hope and generosity. Together, they built a life filled with love, gratitude, and shared dreams. The bakery thrived, not just as a business, but as a community hub where everyone felt welcome. Maddie's journey from a struggling waitress to a successful business owner, and Jack's transformation from a disillusioned millionaire to a man rediscovering life's true riches, were testaments to the power of kindness and the unexpected ways love can find us.